They say the final moment comes without warning, but that's not true. Your body knows when the end is near, often sending subtle but undeniable signals in the days, weeks, or even months before it. The problem? Most people miss them. Doctors don't always explain these signs, but the research is clear. If you or someone you love is experiencing these 9 symptoms, time may be running out. Pay close attention, because knowing these signs could make all the difference. Some might say, life has an end for everyone, so why worry? And while that's true, understanding these signs isn't about fear. It's about awareness, preparation, and making the most of the time we have. Because in the end, it's not just about how we go, but how we live. Number 1, sleeping more than usual. Eleanor, a 87-year-old woman with advanced Parkinson's disease, was once active, but in her final weeks, she slept constantly. At first, she napped more, then struggled to stay awake even for meals. Soon, she barely responded, her body too weak to move. Within days, she passed peacefully in her sleep. It starts with feeling drained all the time. At first, you may just need a nap during the day, but soon, staying awake feels exhausting. This isn't normal fatigue. This is your body shutting down. As the end approaches, the metabolism slows dramatically, and energy is diverted from muscles and daily functions to vital organs. Eventually, even lifting your head or opening your eyes becomes difficult. A 2022 study found that in the final weeks before passing, most people experience a significant drop in energy, spending over 80% of their time asleep. Even more concerning, some people enter a semi-conscious state where they barely respond to voices, light, or touch. If you notice someone constantly sleeping, struggling to stay awake, or barely responding, their body may already be transitioning. Number 2, hallucinations and confusion. Richard, an 81-year-old man with terminal lung cancer, began staring at the doorway, his eyes following something unseen. His breathing grew slower, and he occasionally lifted his hand as if reaching out. A day later, he passed peacefully, his expression calm. This isn't just grief or imagination. This is a well-documented neurological shift that happens when the brain begins shutting down. A shocking 2020 study found that up to 50% of people in their final weeks experience visual or auditory hallucinations. Some see dead relatives. Others talk about a journey they must take. What's even more disturbing? Many describe seeing the other side or someone waiting for them. Some even call out specific names, saying things like, "Mom is here," or "I have to go now." If you or a loved one is seeing people who aren't there, speaking to deceased relatives, or talking about going somewhere soon, this could mean the transition is near. Number 3, a sudden change in the eyes. Elizabeth, 77, in late-stage kidney failure, developed glassy, unfocused eyes with a bluish tint. Her gaze seemed distant, as if looking beyond the room. Hours later, her eyes remained half open and still. By nightfall, she was gone, her face frozen in quiet peace. Have you ever looked into someone's eyes and felt like something was different? In the final days before passing, the eyes often lose their focus, becoming glassy, dull, or even changing color. Some report that the eye whites take on a bluish or purple hue. Others describe their loved one's eyes as suddenly looking far away, as if they're seeing something beyond this world. A 2021 study found that many patients develop tear-filled, half-open eyes that remain unfocused, sometimes for days before passing. In some cases, the pupils barely react to light, even in a dim room. If someone's eyes no longer respond to light, appear foggy, or remain half open but unfocused, their body may be preparing for the final moments. Number 4, talking about packing or leaving. At 72 years old, George, battling metastatic pancreatic cancer, had been bedridden for weeks. One morning, he became unusually alert, scanning the room and mimicking packing a suitcase. He smoothed his blanket repeatedly, as if preparing for a journey. That evening, he quietly passed away. A passing person may suddenly start talking about a trip. They might say they need to pack their bags, find their passport, or wait for someone to pick them up. This isn't just confusion. This is symbolic speech, a well-documented phenomenon in people who are passing. A Harvard psychology study found that people in their final days often describe traveling, preparing to leave, or meeting someone soon. This is the subconscious mind, adjusting to life's final transition in a way that feels familiar. Some patients become fixated on time, repeatedly asking, "What time is it?" or "When are they coming?" If someone keeps mentioning travel, packing, or waiting for a ride, they may already be mentally preparing to go. Number 5. Drastic changes in breathing. At 84 years old, Martha Collins was battling late-stage Alzheimer's disease. One night, she began breathing in shallow, uneven gasps, with long pauses between breaths. Her family thought she was resting, but within hours, her breathing slowed to a stop, and she passed away peacefully in her bed. One of the most concerning signs that life is reaching its final phase is irregular, shallow, or labored breathing. A 2023 study found that Cheney-Stokes breathing, a cycle of deep gasps followed by long pauses, is one of the strongest indicators that the end is near. In the final days, breathing may become raspy, irregular, or suddenly stop for long periods. Family members often mistake this for sleep, but in reality, the body is struggling to keep oxygen flowing. Some refer to a distinct gurgling sound in the throat caused by fluid buildup during the final stages. If a person suddenly starts gasping for air, breathing slows dramatically, or stops and starts unexpectedly, the end may be just hours away. If a loved one is showing these same signs, the most important thing you can do is offer comfort. Sit beside them, hold their hand. Even if they don't respond, they can still feel your presence. A calm, familiar voice and a peaceful environment can bring more relief than words ever could. In their final moments, presence matters more than anything. Number 6. A sharp drop in body temperature. Harold, 69 years old, had been in hospice for weeks due to complications from diabetes. One evening, his daughter noticed his hands were ice cold, and his skin had turned bluish-purple. Mottled patches spread across his legs as his circulation shut down. By morning, his body was cool to the touch. Hours later, he was gone. As the final moment approaches, blood circulation slows, pulling warmth away from the skin and toward the vital organs. The first signs? Cold hands and feet, blue or purplish skin, a sudden drop in body temperature. Many studies confirm that in the last 24-48 hours, the skin often becomes pale, blotchy, or covered in a blue-purple pattern. This isn't just poor circulation, it's the body shutting down non-essential functions. Some people develop mottled skin, where blotchy patches of red, blue, or purple appear, usually on the legs, arms, or back. If someone's limbs feel cold, skin changes color, and their body suddenly feels much cooler, they may be entering the final phase. Number 7. No interest in eating or drinking. Mary, an 80-year-old woman, had always enjoyed her morning coffee and a hearty breakfast. But in her final weeks, advanced heart failure stole her appetite. First, she left food untouched on her plate. Then, even small sips of water became a struggle. Her daughter watched as she grew weaker, unable to swallow without choking, her body slowly letting go. A 2021 study confirmed that reduced appetite and thirst are among the earliest signs of the body approaching the end of its journey. The organs that process food and water begin shutting down, making digestion too much effort. Even sips of water can become difficult, and some people choke on even the smallest amounts. If someone stops eating and drinking completely, they are likely in the final days. Number 8. Withdrawing from people. Paul, a 75-year-old man, had always been the center of conversation at family gatherings. But in his final weeks, everything changed. Battling stroke complications, he stopped engaging in conversations, barely acknowledged his grandchildren, and spent most of his time staring out the window in silence. Even when loved ones spoke to him, he only gave brief nods or distant smiles, as if he was already somewhere else. At first, they might just seem tired. Then, they stop talking, avoid eye contact, and barely respond. This isn't depression. This is the body preparing for detachment. A 2020 end-of-life study confirmed that in the final weeks, most people gradually withdraw from conversations, social interactions, and even loved ones. Some stop recognizing family members entirely. Others seem to stare into space, lost in thought. If someone barely speaks, loses interest in visits, or no longer reacts to loved ones, their time may be coming to an end. Number 9. An unshakable sense of peace. Dorothy, an 83-year-old woman battling end-stage dementia, had been restless for weeks, barely speaking or acknowledging those around her. But one afternoon, something changed. She became unusually alert, her eyes bright as she gazed at a corner of the room. A peaceful smile crossed her face, and she relaxed completely. That night, she passed away in her sleep, her family describing it as the most serene moment they had ever witnessed. Perhaps the most unexpected sign is a sudden sense of calm. A 2023 study stated that in the final days, many people experience a profound feeling of acceptance, relief, or even joy. Some reconnect with family members, settle past regrets, or express a deep sense of peace. Others report seeing a light, feeling weightless, or sensing loved ones waiting for them. While the body weakens, the spirit seems ready. And when that moment comes, the transition is complete. If you notice these signs in yourself or a loved one, it means the body is preparing for its final transition. While it's a difficult reality, understanding these changes can help bring comfort, acceptance, and the chance to say goodbye in a meaningful way. Doctors may not always explain what's happening, but now you know what to look for. The most important thing you can do is be present, offering warmth, reassurance, and peace in their final moments. Because in the end, the greatest gift isn't more time, it's a peaceful farewell.
And there you have it. What are your thoughts? Next, dive into this video for more essential tips to transform your health and help you thrive. You're going to love it. Thanks for watching Healthy End, and we'll see you there.